we're one for one. Chris Evans came on our podcast, got drafted by the Bengals. He's in the Super Bowl. So if you
Like,
want to make
there.
the Super Bowl next year, maybe come on.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Dorm Debate Podcast. This is the Super Bowl special. It's finally here. We got the Rams versus the Bengals in LA. Now, the Rams, the NFC team, has a home field advantage, just like last year with the Tampa Bay Bucks playing in Tampa, and it fared well for them. Buccaneers ended up winning in Tampa. Could Rams win in LA? Who knows? We're going to find out. There's a couple things we need to address first, and it's our giveaways. So if you don't follow us over on TikTok and on Instagram, what are you doing? First, go follow us over both on there. And then, this is mainly for our Spotify listeners and Apple Podcast and everybody else, but we have giveaways over on all of our channels, including this one. And it's the video right before this. It just says giveaway. So you can look at that video and figure out all the details behind that. But there's also a giveaway on Instagram, and you'll see an Instagram post there. And there's a TikTok giveaway, and you'll see a giveaway post that is pinned to the top of our TikTok. So go over to those and go over and check out the giveaway on YouTube, and then come back to this video. And then after you do that, make sure to register on TikTok in the link in our bio for our Super Bowl live show. So we're going to be going through and picking some of the winners from the giveaways, as well as just talking Super Bowl and just talking with you guys and interacting with you guys before the big game. So we're going to get into the little bit of news this week. Doug Pederson was named the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Mike McDaniel was named head coach of the Dolphins. So Doug Pederson actually took a year off. He didn't do any coaching. And then Mike McDaniel was most recently the 49ers offensive coordinator. And then before that, he was the 49ers, I think, QB coach over there. So he's been at the 49ers for a while now. Going to the Dolphins, he's the second youngest head coach. He's 38 years old, same age as Zach Taylor, and 2 years older than the youngest, Sean McVay, at age 36. So Doug Pederson may ring a bell because he did win a Super Bowl with Caleb's Eagles. So thank God we have Caleb here on the podcast to talk about Doug Pederson, because you watched him firsthand every year that he was an Eagle. Talk to me about the fit with the Jags, but also just Doug Pederson in general. Like, what kind of a coach is he? What are they getting with Doug Pederson?
Yeah, I got to say, of all the coaching hires I've seen this season, I mean, it's the one I'm most familiar with, so I'm biased, but I do think he's the best one out of all the ones that I'm familiar with. I think he's a great pick by the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean, they kind of, I hate to say it, hit rock bottom with the way things went with Urban Meyer. And, I think give hats off to the owner for cutting loose when it clearly wasn't going to work out long term, because most teams and organizations try to give the coach at least a year, like even if it's going terribly, like give them a chance. But I think there was just the writing on the wall that the culture, the way it was going, wasn't going well. And it's crazy to think, because a couple of years ago, even with Blake Bortles, the Jacksonville Jaguars were playoff contenders, and they've just fallen off since they lost him, But with Trevor Lawrence, I think he's very blessed, lucky to get Doug Pederson. He comes from a quarterback coaching staff, and he also comes from the Andy Reid coaching tree, which has brought about some really great coaches throughout the league. And I think he's also a great you saw what he could do with Nick Foles, the backup. And I think you'd think with what happened with the Eagles being like, maybe he's always going to be an Eagles legend in my heart. I'm always going to think he's the coolest guy ever for getting the Philly the first Super Bowl, mad respect. I'm sad how it worked out with the Eagles. I think we as an organization failed him the way we did but Wentz, but it was also, like, in hindsight, a really unique situation for a head coach to win the Super Bowl with a backup, and then having to deal with trading the backup in the offseason, and then the main guy doesn't do as well as you thought he would, So it's such a unique situation that I think you'd see something very similar to how it went with Andy Reid. Like, he, with the Eagles, was really good for a long time, like on and off years, but we went to the Super Bowl twice, not once, and then but still was like a NFC champions. Like, they were really good. But then Andy Reid just kind of I guess it was time for him to go to a different place, change the scenery, and he ended up winning a Super Bowl with the Chiefs. And I think Peterson's already won one with the Eagles. I think it was just that similar situation that things just kind of beyond people's control went that way. And I think with the Jags, they have a great coach to kind of build a offensive, passing oriented. He had the statement saying, what is it? He said, "I believe in throwing the football. I think you throw to score and run to win. That's kind of my philosophy." They were asking about the draft picks that the Jacksonville Jaguars have, and basically saying like, there's no definitive answer yet, but it seems like they're going to be drafting a offensive lineman. Probably is be my guess based off some of the articles I was reading. But just coming from the philosophy of trying to get Trevor Lawrence comfortable in the NFL, you'd think maybe a receiving like powerhouse. They certainly want to get him better weapons, But I think that quarterback coaching background, as well as some of the staff that he's bringing in, is very similar to how we ran with the Eagles. And I think it's only going to be great to see, maybe we see a resurgence of Trevor Lawrence next year if they get him some help on offensive line. If he has the offensive line and he's as good as people say he is, then the receiving options can come later. But the offensive line stuff I think is more important. So to see hints from Peterson doing that, I think it's really good. I think it's a good chance that for that team to come from the drama and what was going on with Urban Meyer to then seeing that Doug Pederson has a history of creating a winning culture and then also like having won a ring. I think he also won one when he was in Green Bay as a player or like his early coach time. So he's been to the top a few times. Yeah. I think that's a lot more street cred than any success in college. So I'm interested to see it. There's a lot of new hires. So it's like you mentioned McDaniels. I'm curious to hear what you guys would think, but maybe these one of the younger guys, random picks will like do something. But I think it's honestly, in terms of matchups or pairings, if you will, I think it's really lucky for the Jaguars organization to land him.
Yeah, and I'd like to say I need to go back and see which episode, but I remember speaking about Doug Pederson. I can tell a good coach and a good player when I see one. I've known Doug Pederson was a great coach. I was surprised he was, benched for the year. No teams had picked him up, and this year he got an opportunity. I mean, he's good. He's a real deal. And I actually just recently learned a few days ago that he actually was an assistant to Andy Reid on the Eagles during Andy Reid's tenure there. And then he followed Andy Reid to Kansas City in 2013. From 2013 to 2015, he was with Andy Reid. That explains it. That's why he's good. I can tell. I'm telling you, I can tell a good coach when I see one. It's great. He's back in the league. I think the Jaguars are going to change their story. Trevor Lawrence, he has potential. So let's see if Doug Pederson can help pull some of that out. They'll get some key draft players, and that should help, especially the O-line. That should help Lawrence out a little bit. But I'm excited for Doug Pederson and the Jaguars. So,
yeah, I think in terms of if you're looking for an offensive coach with an offensive mind that wants to pass the ball and has dealt with a lot of different quarterbacks in the past, Peterson's the guy to do it. I mean, remember when Foles came in that year and won the Super Bowl? So like he was able to have success passing the ball with multiple different quarterbacks. So yeah, I'm excited too. Same thing as Jonathan, just to see Lawrence has the potential. We all know that. So let's see him go out and use it.
And they have a lot of talent. Like John Weir talking about DJ Chark, great receiver. Chenault, great receiver. Even Marvin Jones was the number one guy for the Lions years ago, and he's still there. So, and not to mention Travis Etienne, who was out for the whole year. He's coming back with James Robinson. Like
the pieces are there. They have
James Robinson's one of the. Urban Meyer did not use him. He could be one of the top running backs in the league. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
dude. Urban Meyer, such a snake, man. He would play Carlos Hyde over James Robinson because he was in Ohio State, had a little bit of bias towards him, so he would play Carlos Hyde a lot. And James Robinson, way better. And even Trevor Lawrence knew it, and he went into an interview, and Trevor Lawrence was like, James Robinson's our best player. He should be out there whenever he can.
Every time, yeah. What is it? Jonathan, you added up to, I know I mentioned it, but you added it. The reason I think it's good that he's from the Andy Reid coaching tree is like, I think, Josh McDaniels was like hired as well, but like you see a lot of the guys who went with Belichick and learned under him kind of fail really badly with other teams. Whereas, I mean, honestly, like Andy Reid, you can trace so many key coaches in the league to him and they succeed. It's like winning the Super Bowl is like really hard and there's a lot of things going on, but like it's for whatever reason he attracts great talent and they're able to replicate that. Whereas I feel like some of Belichick's not successors, but like people under him that go on to head coach, they try to do the same thing and it doesn't work.
I think because
Yeah.
Belichick is mainly a defensive coach when you think about Belichick, but Reed is more of an offensive coach. And we know this league is more offensive now than it's ever been. So, and that's
just
why.
to give you, sorry,
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying just to give you an idea of head coaches under Andy Reid, Brad Childress, John Harbaugh, Steve Spagnuolo, Leslie Frazier, Ron Rivera, Pat Shermer, Todd Bowles, that one, I don't know, Doug Pederson, Sean McDermott, right? So yeah, Andy Reid, like Caleb said, he's produced a lot of great coaches under him.
So the next one is Mike McDaniel. So I bet a lot of people don't really know who he is. He's a crazy guy. Crazy man. Have you seen his press conferences? If you should go look him up because he's on one every day. He's on the high of life. I don't know what he's on, but I love his energy. I think he's perfect fit for the Dolphins from that standpoint. And I think since he was a quarterback coach, now offensive coordinator, I think that helps Tua a lot. It kind of gives me the vibe that they're going to stick with him and kind of develop Tua. Rather than just jump ship and try and trade for like Deshaun Watson or something. He's young, 38 years old, but I don't know. I feel like this team has a lot of good players, and I think they need an experienced coach who's won before to kind of like teach them how to win. Yeah. You know, they just can't get over the hump. They've won 8 games, 9 games, but they're 10 games and they can't, get into the playoffs. And like, they need someone who, like a veteran mind. I mean, Doug Pederson would have been good because he's been to the Super Bowl before, but that type of coach who has had experience there, coaching in the playoffs and knows what it takes to make the playoffs, to teach these younger guys how to do it, because they don't have a lot of veteran players. Maybe they should trade for Landry. He's a veteran, so he could maybe show them how to make the playoffs or something.
He was already there.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a coming home ceremony for him.
You think Landry in good faith?
You think Landry can help them? Weren't you the one that a couple weeks ago said Landry is like washed up and needs to be out of Cleveland?
Yes, but
you did say that.
Yes, I did. And I'll tell you why.
I said keep him. I said keep him in Cleveland because he's a leader.
Now let's let Jared give his defense.
But he is considered the number one guy in Cleveland, and he's not anymore. In the Dolphins, he would go in knowing, okay, I am the veteran. I'm the Larry Fitzgerald of the Cardinals. I'm going to come in. I'm not going to be the number one guy. I know that. I'm not going to get.
No, he knows he's not the number one guy in Cleveland.
No.
You mean this in good faith. You're not pulling our leg here, but like, you should go to another team, like, because you mean that well for him.
I feel like it makes sense. Like, it really does make sense in my head. Like, Cleveland, his stay is done. There's nothing more he could do.
Okay, but remember when I said, oh, you're taking good players over leaders, and you're like, yeah, it's more important to be a good player. So why would you waste a roster spot on Landry when you could sign a better receiver that's not a leader?
Well, he's getting wide receiver 1 money over in Cleveland. So with the Dolphins, he wouldn't get that because
it's pay him a couple bucks and keep him on.
Yeah, you remember in Madden we played Kyler like $100,000.
Yeah, he was making like minimum wage with minimum wage contract you guys gave him.
Yeah, you just dial that thing down to 0.
Yeah, no, but I agree with McDaniel. I think it's a good hire. Obviously, young offensive coach, offensive mind, offensive coordinator in San Francisco. So even though he might not have been calling the plays, because we know Shanahan had a really big part in that offense, at least he was with and around the team, doing things on a daily basis, helping Shanahan and learning from that offense. And we know how good that offense has been in the past few years. So I think it's definitely better than having Flores there. They couldn't get over the hump and they had some disagreements. So yeah, bringing in a young offensive mind, I'm excited. I want to see what they can do.
Yeah, and I heard that Brian Flores had a lot of trouble building player relationships, and that was one of the reasons that they fired him. And it seems like Mike McDaniel is a player's coach. I mean, he's young for one, but he's also just so hype and like energized. I feel like it's a great fit for like a young core like the Dolphins.
Right.
Yep. And I mean, look, coaching, my high school coach told me this. Coaching is all about relationships in terms of getting jobs. Once you start somewhere and develop relationships internally, then the rest is history for you. I mean, because if you look at this guy's coaching tree where he came from, Kyle Shanahan, he worked with him on 49ers, but he was with Mike Shanahan. Mike Shanahan actually first hired him as an intern. That was his first coaching gig in his professional career. So that's where it all began. And so, Kyle Shanahan hired him back. He's learned a lot under him. So, I mean, yeah, he could be good because remember, Sean McVay is from Mike Shanahan's coaching tree as well. So, I think this could be interesting. You're starting to see a lot of younger coaches get hired because of the new innovative offensive style, like LaFleur, right? I think he's okay. He's decent. He has Aaron Rodgers, so it's kind of easy. But yeah, this could be good. This could be good. It's tough to say much because he hasn't been a head coach before, but I'm interested to see what happens. But yeah, in terms of relationships with players, yeah, he definitely has it. If you're a position coach, like a wide receivers coach or a running backs coach or something, then yeah, you need to have energy because those players have ego and attitude. You need to be an interesting person and build that relationship with them. Imagine being a coach for Odell Beckham or something like that, right? You need to have that relationship with them and be energetic. And yeah, he's a perfect fit for this team that's trying to be on the rise. I think he's great for Tua. Hopefully he gives Tua some confidence. Again, I mean, we don't know what happened, but a lot of reports saying Brian Flores didn't believe in Tua. So hopefully Tua gets confidence from this hire.
Yeah, I won't go too much into it. I don't know much about the man. All I've seen from the reports before is like suddenly a lot of articles are saying he's the most interesting man in the NFL. And I haven't heard his voice, but looking at the pictures, he looks like a mad scientist. And I mean that in a complimentary way. My impression that he comes from that coaching tree from San Francisco. It's like, hey, I'm curious to see. My only caveat with the not knowing him, so I can't really say, but more the Dolphins have been so bad for so long that even if Flores was a reason why Tua didn't succeed, like if he was right, not saying anything in regards to the lawsuit, but more like if he was right about them choosing like some higher up above the head coach, because he was the head coach, Flores, but someone saying get Tua instead of Herbert, is one of the claims. Or like my point being, like, and think back years ago, I don't mean to keep interrupting myself, I'm all over the place, but thinking back years ago when they traded away Landry, who was the top guy, and he was a good receiver on the Dolphins. And then who was the running back too? Ajayi was one of the was the top guy, and they gave it to the Eagles, and he won a Super Bowl. It's like there was a point where they were just giving everything away to try to build up, and it's like they've been so bad for so long that my brain is like, well, what outside of coaching is there organizationally, like an owner or a GM that's getting in the way of, like, their egos getting in the way of a coach being able to build a team in their image that's like potentially really good? I don't know, but I'm curious that the first thing with a head coach that he's young and that he is the most interesting man. I'm gonna read up on him soon, but I think I'd be excited for something new if I'm the Dolphins fan base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like the Dolphins fans just want some sort of stability. Like,
yeah,
I think that's what was so frustrating is Flores finally had, I think they had 3 seasons over 500 in the last decade, and he had 2 in the last like 3 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, okay, consistently winning, we're not making the playoffs, but it's consistency. And that's like the one thing that they've been missing, and they get rid of him. So
speaking of Flores, I mean, he sort of messed up his case or lawsuit by commenting on Lovie Smith's hire, right? He said,
what did he say?
He's like, I was one of the 3 finalists. And even though I'm happy for Lovie Smith, I believe I should have got the job, basically. That's what his lawyer came on and said.
Where's Lovie Smith going?
He's the new head coach of the Texans.
You see his beard, though? Saying nothing of the lawsuit.
God, that's awful.
Yeah, I did.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he was their defensive coordinator. Now he's their head coach.
Saying nothing of the lawsuit, it's like it's gonna. We talked about Flores like almost as a head coach of the year, I think 2 years ago. Like they were to say that they were so bad that for him to turn around that team so quickly was kind of amazing. So I think that's going to be something that not overshadows McDaniel, but that's certainly like a comparison to see the rate of success. I think. I don't know.
Is that real? Lovie Smith for the Texans. So you're telling me
I don't like that either.
I think he
don't
signed
like
it.
that
Yeah,
either.
there was a picture of him
No.
with the like.
They're
I don't think
asking
it's
for
a-
trouble. I don't know why they did it, but
Wait,
why
what?
would you hire within that organization? It's a mess. That's terrible.
Oh,
They don't know what
saying?
they're
Like,
doing.
it's kind of tough. I mean, now some organizations are feeling they have to, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? They feel like they have to hire somebody that's minority or something just to mitigate
on the-
all these lawsuits. I don't know.
He was
'Cause
head coach of
that's
the
not a good
Bears
hire.
for
But
fucking
you
years.
get extra picks, I heard. If you hire a minority.
Yeah, this is like I
It's
don't
like,
know.
come on.
It's like
Yeah,
now
come
people
on,
are just
you know
trying to
he's not
protect
good.
their back or get
Well-
more picks. Nobody knows what's
Okay.
going on.
No, he was head coach for the Bears. I'm looking at the Wikipedia page.
He went to
04
Illinois.
06.
He went to
Yeah.
Illinois for like a while. And I know Illinois, that's a tough place to win. Obviously, like, you don't get a lot of good recruits, but he had like zero turnaround. Like, I don't even think they made a bowl game. You'll
Well,
have to check
do you remember how good the Texans defense was this past year?
that. Oh, good.
So maybe this isn't a bad hire.
They're like, we like to be consistently bad.
Yeah, we want how good our defense was. We want our offense to be equally as bad. So if we make him head coach, we have a good chance.
Like,
Doesn't
Dude.
make any sense. I mean, this is
they're like, we want the
ridiculous.
number one pick. So like we need both to be bad.
Yeah, we our offense is a little too good. Okay.
Oh gosh. Okay. Now on to some better teams. The Super Bowl 56, I believe. That's insane. I thought it was 52. Time is flying.
No, you're old, Jared. You're almost 57 next year.
Don't say that. Don't say
That
that.
is incredible. Super Bowl 56 in LA. The Rams Bengals. Who would have thought? Not me.
Not
But
me.
I guess like I had some foresight to pick this jersey up because what are the odds? So now
That's crazy.
I think we said this before. Any player, NFL player that wants to be on here, you have a free ride to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean we're 1 for 1. Chris Evans came on our podcast, got drafted by the Bengals. He's in the Super Bowl. So if you
Like, I
want to
know
make the Super Bowl next year, maybe come on.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of other factors that go into that,
Not
but
really
take the
though.
chance. We're 100%. So
but
There's no really other. This is it. You don't need to look at anything else.
what if he won and he was like, I went on this podcast and like they were so nice and kind. It was just awesome, and it drove me to like be better.
the interviewer's like, "What the heck?" What's the name of this podcast?
Regardless of all our picks, I know we're about to reveal them. Like I think Chris Evans is going to be Dorm Debate Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah, he's already
he's
inducted.
always going to be a hero among us. It's crazy that we interviewed him and props. It's crazy, honestly.
If he wins, we'll have him back on.
Yeah.
We have to. It's like, come on, you literally go.
More like
It'd be
if
like
he'll
a
have
full-
us.
It'd be like a full year since we filmed with him.
Not
and,
like
like,
it comes
how
full
much-
circle.
How much changes in a year? Like we gained so many followers, and like he wins the Super Bowl. It's pretty much the same, right?
Yeah. Well, even
An
for him,
accomplishment.
I definitely recommend our if you're listening, wherever you're listening to, listen to that podcast because his story really is interesting. That we talked to him about, like he lost his scholarship for a little bit and was like putting up drywall for a while, and then ended up like working his way back onto the team, and then he got drafted by the Bengals, and now he's in the Super Bowl. So like, think where he was even a year or two before the draft. So it is a really interesting. Like not only is he's a good guy to interview, but great story too. So it's cool to see. So I mean, it's really cool to see.
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why we like cheer so hard for him is because like when he tells those stories and you can hear him just like how hard it was working 3 jobs. But dude, there was a point where he stopped playing football for a whole year. Like he was done. The scholarship was ripped away. And to go from that to now you're going to be playing in the Super Bowl is just mental.
Yeah.
But to go into this, there's some facts that I found quickly. We talked about Mike McDaniel being the second youngest coach at 38. The pairing between Andy Reid and Bruce Arians last year was the oldest of age pairing. It was like combined the highest age. This year, coincidentally, is the youngest combined age, with Sean McVay as 36 and Zach Taylor at 38. They're the 2 youngest coaches,
That's
and
insane.
they're competing in the Super Bowl. So you went from the oldest to now the youngest. insane. And then John, I know you had a stat about the first overall picks, and I think we'll double check, but I think this is the first time that 2 first overall picks are facing off in the Super Bowl since the Panthers played the Broncos when it was Peyton Manning and Cam Newton. So that's another crazy story. And they're years apart. I think Matthew Stafford was 2009 or 6.
Yeah, I want to say 9, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, and then Burrow obviously was 2 years ago. But I think he's the first quarterback or first overall pick to make it in his second year.
Yep.
I think.
Yes.
I keep saying I think, but I think Russell Wilson also made it. Now that I'm saying Russell Wilson made it his second
I think he
year.
did. Yeah, second year.
That was unique for him too.
But he wasn't even picked in the first round, Russ, right?
No, yeah, true. He was like a 5th or 6th round, so that's fair. So first overall pick. But enough beating around the bush. Let's get into the picks. We're gonna say our picks one by one.
So we're all gonna say our picks, and then we're gonna give some reasoning and debate.
Then it's just free for all. At that point, it's a couple guys at a lunch table, like just.
We'll see where it goes.
All right, I have to go last because I'm the most confident.
Yeah, I'm the least confident. This has like been stressing me out for the past week.
How does the least confident person have the best bracket and the most confident person have the worst bracket? You should have no confidence at all.
But this time.
No, but when it comes down to
so torn. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
When it comes down to this game, I'm actually pretty confident.
You said that every time.
I didn't think. Well, actually,
like,
I did say
the
that
Bills
about
suck
my bracket.
and they go all the way, and then they're like, now they lose. It's like, okay, now they.
Okay. The only thing I will say is that I said when we were doing the bracket stuff, right, and going through the playoffs, there was only twice that I said there's no way this team beats this team. I said that for the Patriots beating the Bills, which didn't happen. I said there's no way Patriots beat Bills, and then I said there's no way the Bucks beat the Rams. So I was right twice when I was like really confident. So we'll see.
Fair,
you want a cookie or something? What do you want?
Yeah, I want you to eat a pickle. When are you gonna do that,
dude? I can't find them anywhere.
They're sold out.
There's a pickle shortage. Just
all right. I'm Amazon priming it to you tomorrow.
Ew. A pickle in a bag.
Yeah, now you're gonna have moldy pickles.
Wait, do they sell it on Amazon?
They sold those at the corner store at RIT, and it would
they were good.
Like a little single pickle.
Yeah,
in a
they
bag.
last a long time. Yeah, they sell them on Amazon. They sell them on Amazon. You're in good luck.
Oh, yeah. Good, Jared.
Yeah, they have
you
good
have good luck
variety,
today.
Actually. This isn't even an Amazon commercial. I had no idea.
Yeah, but I moved, so you don't know.
No,
my
I see
address.
you're in the same room.
You don't have a. You don't.
No, this is virtual.
I know your address.
No, this
you don't
is
have
virtual.
a mailbox. You don't have an address anymore, huh?
No, I'm actually I'm here, so I don't.
Oh, you turned the lights on. Oh,
yeah. So this is actually where I'm going in from.
That's your real. That's the.
And
real
this
place.
is the virtual.
Well, I know where both of those rooms are. So.
All right, let's get into the picks.
Okay. I'll go first. Jonathan, you can go second, and then Caleb, you can go third to give you a little bit more time, and then John.
It's like making me sick.
So I'll go first. I also don't know. I did no information, no stats, no nothing. I didn't watch ESPN, Fox, CBS.
No bias.
Wait, so
no
so what are you basing your decision off of? Like you're just gonna like count down from 3 and whichever name comes to your head first?
It's literally how I feel in this exact moment in time. I'm living in the present.
And you also were saying you're not changing your mind, right?
I mean, whatever comes out, that's my pick. And
I'm curious. I will say I do like there's difference between who I want to win and then who I think will win, right? Because having interviewed Chris Evans, we're clearly biased. I want the Bengals to win. Yeah, like I think it'd be hype. But like who I think, it's so close. I'm really torn. All right, well let's just go into this.
The winner of Super Bowl 56 will be. I feel it. The Cincinnati Bengals. I feel it in my heart. It's just it's like so overwhelming. It's just overflowing, and I have to say it. and it's Bengals. That's what comes out. I can't say Rams. It's like Bengals. And I feel the most at ease and comfort when I say that. So I'm going to go with Cincinnati Bengals.
Interesting. I'm going to go with the Rams, and I'm really confident in this. Look, and this is going to be controversial, but I'm going to say it. The Bengals have been really lucky this season to get to this point, okay? The head coach doesn't know what he's doing. He's not that good of a coach, okay? He's not that good of a coach.
I just asked for a team. I didn't know you hated the Bengals so much.
And I don't hate the Bengals. It's just they shouldn't be here, okay? They shouldn't be here. It's
Jonathan, you're right. The Bills should be here.
Maybe. I mean, maybe. Maybe
I didn't even know you hated the.
I don't hate the Bengals. It's just like the coach. He's like the kid that on the school project that didn't do anything. That's what he's doing. He's just it's kind of annoying. I mean, but I think
we've all had that. But
yeah, I mean, Joe Burrow has been good. I mean, it's been the other teams that have been screwing up. The Chiefs should have beat them. They had them beat and they relaxed. It's kind of annoying. If the Rams, I know Sean McVay, he's not going to relax. He's going to put the gas on the pedal. They have too much talent. They have too much talent to lose the Rams. They can run the ball. They can run the clock when they have a good score going. Sean McVay, he's not stupid, okay? He's a really smart guy. He's a great head coach. He's not going to let this team upset him like that. The Rams have the better talent. They have a better coach. They have a better team. They should win this, and they're going to win this.
There's one thing, though, Jonathan, that, the one factor that you're using for your answer is logic. And that just doesn't comply here in this playoff. It's just every logical team that was supposed to win isn't winning.
Yeah. What would you say? Yeah, Jonathan, what would you say to that? Like, we can't predict anything. So what says the Bengals can't win?
Unless the Rams screw it up, unless Cooper Kupp starts fumbling the ball, unless
well, they
Matthew Stafford throws like 10 interceptions.
Well, that's what's happened. What's happened so far.
Yeah, I mean, look, if we get the Rams best, if the Rams play their best on Sunday,
of course,
we're gonna win.
Of course.
But if they start screwing up and just joking around because they think they're about to win, the Bengals are gonna come back and win.
But the Bengals forced that. The Bengals forced the Chiefs.
Oh, they don't force it. I mean, come on. They knew they smelled the Super Bowl coming. They were relaxing.
So you're telling me the Chiefs? All right, we're gonna get Mahomes on here. He's gonna be like, "Yeah, man, I just relaxed, man. I was already in Los Angeles. I was already in the Super Bowl, and then
he missed a lot of throws towards the end. I mean, that's unlike him.
But it was forced. All right, hang on.
Yeah,
Caleb, we've given you long enough.
All right, guys. Yeah, settle down. Caleb better have a decision
at this. I'm legitimately been stressing about it.
That's funny.
Because
Caleb, you know who's gonna win. I know you do.
I want. It's really like legit been bothering me all week. Like, what am I gonna say on the podcast? Like, I've been stressing, guys.
Well, what are you gonna say? I'm so intrigued.
The moment is here. The time.
You have zero time left.
No, don't.
You alone might make it the longest podcast we've ever had.
Stop. No. I don't. I gotta. Okay. I will preface that I'm open to hearing different arguments.
Wait, so you're saying it's possible I could convince you otherwise?
Yes, and I'll because I don't want. I'm gonna off of a gut feeling and maybe a little bit of facts and brain. I think the Rams are gonna get it, and it hurts to say it because I want the Bengals, and it's also. Like it's 50-50 to me in my heart of hearts. I'll say it's 50-50, but I'm not going to say I don't know to give a non answer, right? I'm curious, John, because you're very confident and you get these right a lot, so I'm very scared. But like, it can honestly go either way. Is my point. Like, yeah, on paper the Rams are. It seems almost too obvious to pick the Rams, and I'm not picking them for that. If that makes sense. Like the Bengals could very well come out ahead and beat the Rams easily. Like it's just, I think it's going to be that kind of game. I'm just going with the Rams mainly because of Stafford. Like I know there's so much hype around Burrow. I love like the Bengals as a whole. Like they're a really fun team. I hope they win. I think they have a really good chance to win. If I have to call it though, I just think like Stafford is that guy. Like to beat Brady, to be that, like he's clutch. Like I think like if the Bengals win, they have a foundation to build on. But it's like the Rams have so much to lose, and they're in a favorite position because they they put everything on the line. Whereas the Bengals, it's like a lot of hype, but not that it can go either way. You know, it's almost too obvious to pick the Rams. I just think it comes down to Stafford being clutch because he's like the fifth most quarterback comebacks. Maybe this is the start of the same career with Burrow, but for this scenario, I'm 50-50. But if y'all need an answer, I'll go with the Rams.
All right, so that's 2 Rams, 1 Bengal.
If I had to guess, I think John, you're gonna get the Rams.
Yeah. I wish it was Bengals, but he's gonna.
I want the Bengals, and I'll argue for both sides. But just to put on record, I guess it's 51% Rams, 49% Bengals for me. Now that percentage can change. So
wait, Jonathan, before I say mine, what percentage would you give your confidence in the Rams winning? Like maybe 90?
No, I'd probably have to say 100%.
So there's really just no shot for the Bengals.
There's no shot.
Okay.
There's no shot. Okay.
You just said
it's gonna be
Cooper Cup fumbles, which is not.
It's probably gonna be a boring Super Bowl. I hate to break it to you. It's probably gonna be boring. It's not gonna be one of those close games. Rams are gonna dominate them. Sean McVay's been waiting for this. He came here a few years ago, and he still remembers that bad taste in his mouth where he lost to the Patriots. Bill Belichick's not he's not on the other side. He's gonna take advantage of this and win. Believe me, it's gonna be a dominant game for the Rams.
Okay. So after hearing that statement by Jonathan, I will say that there is no way that the Bengals win this game.
No.
I'm sorry. The Rams are going to win this game. I'm not. I wouldn't say 100%, but I'd say it's greater than 90% confidence that I have in the Rams winning this game.
That's disrespectful.
I don't think it's going to be a complete dominance, but I think the Rams will be winning the entire game, and you'll be able to tell, like, yeah, the Rams are playing better. The Rams are playing better. When are the Bengals going to like make a big play, do these things, and they just won't be able to?
Yeah.
So that's what I think is going to happen.
That's...
But to start off the debate, I want to say one stat. Guys, the Bengals screwed this up. The Bengals really made a big mistake, and here's why.
They didn't pick white jerseys.
So basically what happens is every year the home team switches. It alternates. So last year the Buccaneers were the home team. Now the AFC this year gets the home field advantage, which means that the home team gets to choose their jerseys.
Oh no.
The Bengals chose black.
Black?
Guys, they chose black. Guys, white jersey color teams have won the Super Bowl in 14 of the last 17 Super Bowls.
Wow.
Wait a minute.
They screwed it up. Why didn't I not look at the stats?
One thing, Caleb mentioned this on the last one.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
I don't think it was a podcast, or maybe it was just us bickering before or after. But he said that's the Bengals mentality. It's like they knew that
exactly
was the
what I was gonna
favorite,
say.
and they go the opposite. What's the opposite of white? It's black.
They're like, how much can we bet against ourselves so it's more to overcome, right? Like,
so
no quarterback in history has gotten 50 sacks, sacked 50 times more, and still made it to this level.
Maybe they should have Burrow get hurt. Maybe Burrow should get hurt in practice this week so that maybe there's more to overcome, right? Come on, guys. Let's go. Let's be real here. That's
the underdog mentality. They get power from the odds.
White jerseys always win the Super Bowl, so I don't know what else to tell you.
Not true.
Okay. But seriously, I think from a game standpoint, the Rams have more firepower. Don't forget, Stafford is the best fourth quarter QBR in the NFL this season. He's the best quarterback when it's tight. So even if it's a close game, Stafford has the edge. The Rams, I agree with Jonathan. McVay has more experience at this level, and they're going to come out and be so fired up. Not only is it played in LA, but usually the AFC in this scenario would get home field advantage. So basically that means that they get to pick their jersey color. But the NFL is allowing the Rams to stay in their home locker room. They don't have to go to the away locker room, even though they're the away team. They have comfort in their home locker room. I mean, it's like the Buccaneers last year. They got to pick their jerseys. They got the home locker room. It's like you're so comfortable. You're on your own field. Like, what else more can you want?
What else?
Yeah, I think
What else?
this just about the stadium thing. It's almost like you'd think it's biased for the Bucs or Rams, but it's like such a unique situation that logically I kind of get it, even though I kind of want to pick the Bengals now because to split the room because there's not enough respect for the
I
Bengals
dare
from
you.
the two to the two. Excuse me.
Please do it.
Yeah, but okay. Before I go to that, the stadium thing, it makes sense because don't those guys have like their name on the locker? So like just to switch
Yeah.
for the game, like didn't have Burrow take over Stafford's locker. It just seems like
Yeah.
this is a unique scenario where if like, like yeah, just let them keep it. You know, I know it's nicer in the home one, but it just seems silly to like move your backpack to the other side when it's
Yeah.
you know. But
I can only imagine. I'm just thinking about this. Sorry, Caleb, but I'm just thinking about this. I can only imagine what Aaron Donald and Von Miller are going to do to Joe Burrow.
Dude, yeah, this offensive line has let up the most sacks out of any other team, and now you
I'd
have
be scared if I was Joe Burrow,
arguably
honestly.
the best defensive line.
They keep winning though. Like,
But this is
I
not
mean, I
the
think
same.
I think
54
Jonathan's a little bit right. Like, I do give the Bengals credit, but like the Raiders weren't that good. The Titans, like Henry wasn't really healthy. Like, yeah, they did beat the Chiefs twice, which is very hard to do. Mahomes did choke. It was a little bit forced by the Bengals. That one I'll give them. I'll say the Chiefs was an impressive win. Raiders and Titans, that was kind of like easy. I'm not going to like, I think the Rams had a lot tougher road beating the Cardinals, a division, and then Brady, and then having to beat the 49ers that they haven't beaten in 4 years. So like, I think they've had a tougher road. They faced more adversity, and I think they're more ready for this moment.
That's why I'm so fundamentally torn because McVay does have that experience, and it's just for me, it really does come down to Stafford. Like if this was almost any other quarterback, even like a guy who's been there like Garoppolo, or because we've mentioned this on the podcast, and pundits have said this, like Burrow has like a Brady style, like calm control and just being able to be the leader for the team, and that's great. But I think Stafford's just not as flashy, but he's been that. I think Brady's like the only guy to beat him in fourth quarter comebacks, or since he entered the league, Stafford has more. So if you're talking about Brady-esque style, Stafford's been that. He's just been on the Lions. He's been, but I just, for me, it just goes down to those reasons are kind of why. Like, oh, they lost 6 times to the San Francisco. They kind of it was a close game-ish, but like, and then seeing them go against Brady in the playoffs never loses, but then Stafford like throws a critical, like Cooper and Stafford connect twice and they don't let it go to overtime. They don't let it go to the coin toss. And that's so like, that's clutch. And Burrow's clutch too. It's just, what gets me is mainly Stafford. And I think that more mental, that veteran, not even veteran, because like, I think adding Von Miller certainly helped on the edge and it's going to give them depth. But it's like, you can't think of, like, I think it just gives them experience. And like a lot of guys on that team have more experience collectively than some of the guys on the Bengals. But that being said, they match up really interestingly that I think I can't believe anyone would be 90% or more on the Rams. It's too obvious, guys. Like it's too obvious. Like there's too many factors that it's like, don't you get nervous?
Sometimes it just is.
Don't you get nervous though?
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm not that. I mean, I do want to say one more stat, and then Jared, I want to ask you your thoughts because I know we've been talking a lot about how the Rams have a lot going in their favor. But one of these things we've been talking about, the defense. I went to the last 5 Super Bowls, and once teams get to the Super Bowl, in each of the last 5 Super Bowls, the team with the higher ranked defense has won.
Oh, yeah.
And the Rams have a higher ranked defense this year than the Bengals. So when you get to the big game, you need to have a defense. Offense is important, but you need to have a defense. And I mean, Jared, what are your thoughts? Like you've heard 14 of 17 Super Bowl winners have worn white jerseys. You see all the last 5 Super Bowls, the team with the better defense has won. What do you have to say? Like,
there's
describe what you're doing for this listener.
Joe Burrow is behind me right now.
Oh, hey, welcome onto the podcast.
Oh, that dang! Now he's gonna win the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh shit.
That was a trump card. That was it.
Oh my god.
That's all the reasoning. You imagine you made him sit 2 hours into like just us talking, sitting quietly in the back of your room, just waiting for his entrance. No, it's an image of Burrow for Jared's background, but
he is on the podcast, which means he will win. There's a couple things with that stat. And, it said the last 5 years, so I guess recently, yes. But can't forget about your Giants. They won the Super Bowl with the lowest defensive rank ever.
True. You're
So
right.
all they need is that 1% possibility that they need to win or that they can win.
True.
Another thing is all eyes will be on the matchup of the Bengals O-line
Thank you.
and
That's
the Rams.
that's the story of the game. That's the story of the
Exactly.
game.
Yeah,
But
I do agree with that.
everybody thinks, oh, they can't block Aaron Donald. They can't block
No way. There's
Von
no
Miller.
way they can block
No
Aaron
way,
Donald. I saw
right?
him in the Chiefs game. There's no way they can block Aaron Donald.
No
No
way.
way.
No way.
Well, they're
But-
going to double team him every time.
They're still not going to be able to block him.
No way.
It's going to be embarrassing. I saw him in every game this playoffs. I didn't see
the
any
eye
improvement.
contact perfect.
I felt bad for the O-line coach. Like he's yelling at him on the sideline. There's nothing, so much you can do. They can't do it. They just can't play.
No, there is a way.
There is a way. And, I don't know if you heard one of the offensive linemen for the Bengals. He said something along the lines of, we felt disrespected after the Titans game and we wanted to prove a point. And after they beat the Chiefs, they were like, look at us now. Like, look at us now. What were they saying before? They were saying, oh, Burrow's going to be running for his life and it's going to be all bad. And they're going to,
I mean, they were still going to be a little bit.
okay, but it doesn't matter at the end of the day, though. At the end of the day, they won. And that's all you need to do. You need to just do enough to win. And so what happened was the media basically gave the firepower and the drive to the Bengals O-line, saying that they were so bad. They were so outmatched that this next Chiefs game, they have no shot. Why did the Bengals have no shot? Because that O-line. Everybody said it. The O-line, it's going to be bad. It's going to be the reason they lose. And all of a sudden, they come out of Kansas City and they win. Now they're in the Super Bowl. Say the same exact thing. They're going to say Aaron Donald, Von Miller, everybody. They're too good. That Bengals O-line is not good. But you're giving that drive, that firepower to want to win and to prove people wrong. That's a strong feeling to have. You're going to put the extra rep in, that extra work in, up and coming until the Super Bowl. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous to have because hard work beats talent every day, Jonathan. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, but there comes the time when you're at the elite level, the top 2-3 people in the NFL. I mean, Aaron Donald, he's not something where you can wish and get motivation from. You can either block him or you can't. Nobody can block him. Nobody can block him, especially this O-line.
What's
This O-line
the
is going to
medium?
struggle.
You can't block him one-on-one. So you have to put two guys on him, and then
I even think two guys won't be able to block him. I think it's going to be an embarrassment.
Well, two guys would be two guys. He would still win most of the time, but at least
but think of it this way. I forgot to mention this. It's the Chinese New Year was, I believe, last week or a week or two ago. Guess what? Guess what animal is this year's animal?
No, it's not the Bengals.
Tiger.
It's a tiger. Year of the tiger.
The year of the tiger.
That's big.
Ooh.
That's big. But
I
will
did
say,
not know
look
that.
at it. That's why I'm like, maybe I'm gonna. No, but think of it this way. Maybe Burrow has so much experience evading pressure that maybe like they've been. I will say, I think the Titans D line was probably the best. Like between the Raiders and the Chiefs and the Titans, I think Titans definitely have the best one.
Yeah.
In D line, even though Raiders might have been second. I think Chiefs have less flashy stars, but I think the Rams will be or definitely better in a D line than the Titans. I think that 9-sack game was an outlier. Like it is crazy how many they gave up, but again, they still won. So it's like he has experience avoiding pressure. What's fundamentally interesting to me is like how different pieces of this game will play out. So that's almost an obvious, like you kind of want to say the better D line is going to win you the game, and that's a huge part of the game. But it's like, okay, one thing I'm thinking of is the Rams have like a running back committee, right? Michelle and Akers, I think, right? Yeah, mainly. And then whereas Cincinnati has one great guy, Joe Mixon. It's almost like an older style of football for a younger team, but like he's the main guy. And then the other one was both receiving cores are really like similarly gifted. Maybe like one has higher ceilings or floors than the other one. But I think Cooper Kupp has had a better overall receiving season, but in terms of at least fantasy or something. But like they're kind of comparable. We talked about this, I think, a little bit amongst ourselves or on one of the podcasts. Like they kind of match up. Jamar Chase, Cooper Kupp, like the speed backs, and it's so that's interesting to me. They both teams kind of are not great on the middle line the inside linebacker position underneath. I do think that's something that's interesting to think about is the Bengals on some of the articles I was reading definitely have higher rated safeties, but like they beat the Rams out on top. So that makes an interesting play. That the Bengals having better safeties might limit Stafford's ability to throw the arm because he has a cannon, and that's just something that you have a really good D line on the Rams. Both linebacking cores are kind of like iffy. I'll just say that according to some of these articles. But then the Bengals went up top on the safety position. So I'm like, that's going to make some interesting matchups with what you can do as a play, and then also cornerbacks like that. I know Jalen Ramsey and Jamar Chase are being hyped up a lot, but I mean, I think they're kind of just looking for a story. I feel like some of the medium, I guess, is a matchup, but we've also talked about like if Jamar Chase is ever one-on-one, you're gonna throw it to him. So if they're gonna think to only do one-on-one, like you got to give backup. Same thing for the Bengals. You can't let Cooper Kupp be alone, no matter if you have the best cornerback in the league. You gotta game plan for these things. But like if you can have time, the offensive line buys you time to have plays, and having a defensive line to get pressure can blow that up. If you can get plays off, these other factors become interesting, right? The other thing that kind of the Stafford was the main reason. The other thing that kind of pushed me a little bit for the Rams is that still I'm torn on is that I think the Rams have a better special teams. Even though McPherson for the Bengals kicker has been on 12 for 12, he's clutch. Like he's everything you'd want for in a kicker and proven to be a 5th round pick. But I think some of the articles I was reading were saying that the punting team, like other aspects of the special teams,
Johnny Hecker.
We saw some of the aspect. We saw how the Packers kind of imploded because of lack of special team focus. I think the Rams got a little bit better because they have Matt Gay. The punter's good. They have a more well-rounded, consistent special teams. So the last thing you'd want to see is this come up in the Super Bowl that the Bengals. I think the Bengals can definitely win this. But if it's like a freak play, it's more likely to happen on special teams or something. So, but all this hate on the Bengals, I'm almost wanting to change my pick. I don't know.
It's going to come down to the leg of McPherson. It's going to come down to the leg of McPherson.
No, it's not going to be that close.
It's just too obvious to me.
I do want to say one thing because I did bring up some stats that were kind of bogus. Like, okay, white collar jerseys, who knows how that works out. And then each of the last 5 Super Bowls, the better, higher ranked defenses won. Okay. I'm going to bring up a stat. It's pretty interesting, actually. When you're looking at a matchup standpoint, Caleb, you were talking about the receivers. When you are talking about the Bengals, you're like, okay, how have they recently had success? Well, you said Jamar Chase had a huge game against the Chiefs, and they play a lot of press man coverage, right? So I dove into what coverages do the Rams play? And how have the Bengals been against those coverages? So actually, the Rams play the least amount of man coverage in the league. They actually play 71% of the time. They play 2 high safeties, which is 3rd most in the NFL. And the Bengals in games this year against teams that mainly play 2 high safeties, they average 19.4 points per game, and their record is 2-6. Now, when they face a team that doesn't mainly play 2 high safeties, they average 35.2 points per game and have an 11-1 record. So they fare much better against teams that don't play 2 high safeties, but the Rams primarily play that. And the reason they can is because they have so much good pressure with only 4 guys rushing the football. They don't need to bring the blitz. They don't need to play 1 high safety. They can play 2 high safeties most of the time. So from a matchup standpoint, the Rams, I think, have the better edge. And that's why I'm really interested to see the shots that the Bengals take and what their strategy is, because you could do 2 things. You could either say, I don't care what the defense is playing, we're still going to throw Chase and Higgins on goes, or you could try to methodically move down the field because those short passes with Uzama and Boyd will be open. My guess is that they're going to have some routes in the intermediate, but I think they're going to put Chase and Higgins on go routes, and they're going to take their chances. They're going to chuck it up to both those guys at least 2 or 3 times each to let them make plays, because that's how they make big plays, gain momentum, and move down the field. But I just wanted to bring that up.
It's an interesting thought. I think because of that, I think you'll see a lot of check downs from Burrow. Not that that's bad, but a lot of underneath, because if that linebacking core is kind of weak and you're not having a lot of time, you might see some screens, slants, like quick, like that. But that can kind of control the pace of the game. The other thing, I know I've been talking a lot, but the other thing that makes me worried for the Rams is the run game. I think they only have 2 rushing touchdowns in the playoffs from Matthew Stafford, and they're averaging, I think, 2.9 yards per carry. It says like that's defense certainly wins games, but like I mentioned before, Doug Pederson, like you pass to score and you run to win.
The only thing I would say against that is that they played the Buccaneers, who have one of the best run defenses. Everybody knows that. And then the 49ers, who have one of the best run those are two of the top four run defenses. So like you can't really do much on that.
They'll need to have it though, I think, to control the pace of the game.
And I think they will. I think Cam Akers,
he's a good player,
be talking about it on the live, but I think Cam Akers could be an underrated player in this game.
Yeah, I mean, you can like the league is moving to where again you don't have to run most of the time. You can option it off with just throwing out routes to Cooper Kupp or something. He's always going to be open. So like Cooper Kupp is obviously going to have another great game. That's an option. So you don't have to always run with Cam Akers or whoever, Henderson, right? So
or Michelle, yeah.
If they had Robert Woods, I think they'd be a league above. Yeah, I think, but without him, I think it really does hurt. And Odell Beckham Jr. is a question mark because he hasn't been. He's definitely been good for the Rams in a lot of ways, but it's like I think we hear Odell Beckham Jr., we hear Von Miller, and we think back to like their peak like highlight moments at Broncos Super Bowl, the catch. Like part of me wonders like they're still great players, veterans, but will you see that kind of special X factor play? I don't know. And it's interesting because according to Bleacher Report, the Cincinnati defense is really good too. They compare it kind of interestingly in terms of like I think the Bengals might almost have a better edge rush. Well, the Rams have so much depth, but it's comparable a little bit. That's why I'm
Trey Hendrickson kind of carries that passing rush. So
yeah, so it's
Hubbard
possible.
is also good.
Right. That was the other one. Right, but they rank 5th in rush defense. So, like, I'll be watching the game that if the Rams can get a run game early, that'll be critical.
Right.
Because I think they've averaged, like, only 88 yards per game. And I guess you're making teams pass to beat you. And when you have better safeties for the Bengals, it's interesting if what the Rams will do. Like, can they go deep with Kupp the way they might want Odell, or will they kind of be playing, like, control the pace of the game? Like, not – because what it sounds like, the Bengals are a second-half team, too. The Rams can come out strong, and they let up talking about Burrow being a little Brady-esque. They let up a huge lead to the Buccaneers, and like that mental advantage that I think the Bengals have in terms of a bloodthirstiness, you're the tiger, like underdogs. That mental momentum thing. That's why like the matchups are so close. That the mental part, I think it's not even just hype. I just think that element is something that it's more for the Bengals to win and the Rams to lose. It feels like, but I'm not. It's just for me. It's just still Stafford is so solid that if he has a bad game, then it's like I think Burrow and the Bengals can walk away with it. But I think he's just that guy. We just don't talk about him a lot because he's not like as media friendly, if you will. Like there's been so many headlines and tweets of Burrow. Like Burrow's a guy that people like to write about and read about. But Stafford, I think he's just proven it. So much to me that it's like maybe in a couple of years Burrow will be that. But yeah, I'm still torn on it. I can't. I almost want to just pick the Bengals just to split the room, give some credit because for Dorm Debate podcast, not even because Chris Evans was on, but more like for me in my head, it is so evenly matched. I can't imagine a 3-1 split.
Well, I mean, it's not evenly matched. That's the thing. Yeah. It's like so favored one side.
But that's like the advantage.
That's why it makes it evenly matched.
So much things. There's so many different ways.
Rams
Think about this though. I like that Caleb, you brought up the safeties, and then John with the cover 2 stuff because they have an old ass safety in Eric Weddle. They picked him up literally in the playoffs. He was sitting on his ass, not doing anything the whole year.
He's
comes out of retirement and starts playing safety for a Super Bowl team.
We don't know how true that statement
is. Well, they beat the Bucks.
I'm a fan of Eric Weddle because he was a Charger. He's a part of that core Chargers group with like Antonio Cromartie and Sean Merriman, like those core defense. I always have love for Eric Weddle. The man got drafted in 2007. He's 37 years old at playing safety. So if anything, if you see Eric Weddle over top Jamar Chase, you chuck that thing and he'll just moss him.
He might help the corner, but he's not going to be they're not going to leave him one-on-one.
It's going to be on Ramsey.
I've seen him help.
That's
in the
interesting
run
to think
game.
about.
That's
Yeah.
where everyone has been saying, oh, he knows run concepts. He knows when to fill, what gaps to fill. That's where he's been helping out the most, is in the running area. So I don't think that's true, but him being a safety and, in general, the Rams needed help and they pick Eric Weddle. He's got the mind for it, but can he actually perform? That's my question. Can he keep up with one of the best receivers in the game, Jamar Chase, best receiving core, maybe in the league? My second thing is Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow's a winner, right? He went to LSU. He won. He didn't lose in his second year at LSU. End up winning the national championship. Goes number one. Ends up getting injured in his second year. Goes all the way to the Super Bowl. It's in his blood, in his DNA. He's a winner. Matthew Stafford was playing for the Detroit Lions, one of the most losing franchises ever.
Well,
and when you take Matthew Stafford out of Detroit, right? There's a famous saying, you can take Stafford out of Detroit, but you can't take Detroit out of Stafford. And Detroit, unfortunately, is known for losing a lot, blowing leads, losing in crazy fashions. That's just what he is. I mean, he was there for so long that it's a part of his DNA. And for him to make it to the Super Bowl and unfortunately have to face this guy right here, Joe Burrow, who is just a bona fide winner and doesn't have a losing bone in his body besides when he breaks his leg and then they start losing. He's a winner. So when you match up quarterbacks, Joe Burrow, Matthew Stafford, at the core of it, Joe Burrow favors. Not because of skill, not because of stats, but from the most important statistical category in football in any sport, and it's winning. And I believe that Joe Burrow has the same amount of playoff wins as Matthew Stafford. And
they both had zero coming in.
Yeah, so Stafford had been in the league for how many years? And Joe Burrow just got in 2 years ago. So
yeah, well,
he has changed.
That's why it's tough though, because you leave. That's why I'm torn. For me, I'm torn. I know you both say, but that's like they both had zero playoff wins. Burrow's in his second year, but Stafford 1 year out of Detroit gets this far too. It's like for me, it's kind of comparable.
You
The thing is,
you can't underestimate Burrow. You just can't. Like even though he hasn't had this great statistical season, this great statistical postseason, at the end of the day, that he gets the win no matter what.
I mean, that's true. I agree with that, but it's a little bit of a small sample size. And I know the sample size is small with Stafford, but I remember when Stafford left Detroit, he's like, somebody was interviewing him and they're like, well, what does this mean? Like to go to a team that, they have the pieces around to win a championship. He's like, I just want the opportunity to make big plays in big moments. He's like, I haven't had that. I haven't had those opportunities. And now he has it. And he's had it in these playoffs. And anytime they've asked him to step up, he stepped up. He has the best fourth quarter QBR of any other quarterback. When you look at the Rams game or when you look at the Bucks game, coming back in that 30 seconds, I was thinking, oh, they should just knee it. They have no momentum. Just go to overtime. And no, they go down the field and get a field goal. So he stepped up in every way that he can. And yeah, Burrow might be more of a winner in terms of his history, but Stafford can get it done.
Yeah, well, guys, let me remind you, football is a team game. There's so much people on the field, so many different factors. Joe Burrow, if you're talking about college and NFL, well, first let's talk about high school. By the way, Matthew Stafford was a Texas legend, another Texas legend. He won a state championship. He's a winner. He went to Highland Park. Google it. That's a winning quarterback high school.
Yeah.
Highland Park, Texas. That's a lot of rich people live there. It's a powerhouse. Okay. So he was a winner in high school. If you want to go to college, Dwayne Haskins was named starter over him at Ohio State, right? Dang. That's number one. Number two, he went to LSU. Okay, fine. But did you look at the team around him? Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, duh, who wouldn't win by that? If you didn't win, if you can't win like that as a quarterback, then I mean, you suck big time. I mean, come on. He had the best team in the nation. All you had to do was throw him the ball. And then Bengals. Last year, I'm trying to figure out what time did he get hurt last year?
I think
Was
it
it
was like
middle of the season or beginning?
Week 5, I
four,
think.
yeah,
4 or 5. Yeah.
I don't know he wasn't doing too well before that, right?
No,
I
he
don't
was
think so.
just he was just okay middle.
This
Yeah,
would
okay.
be, I'd be
So-
curious.
When Jamar Chase comes, that's when he starts having a great year. So now you have Jamar Chase, Higgins, Mixlin's, in the back. You have Pirine. You got Chris Evans, who's a speedy back, right? You have so much more pieces this year. He is another great team here, except his O-line. His O-line sucks. But everybody else, the receivers, the running backs, the defense is a little bit better. Guys, he's in a great situation. He's lucky. He's lucky compared to other quarterbacks that just enter the league. He's been blessed so far in his career. It's not just him. So you can't say he's a winner and he's going to take his team to the promised land. It's not him doing it. You have to look at the receivers. You have to look at the running back and all the pieces around him. Matthew Stafford, he's a winner. We've always known he's a winner. We can tell. We knew it in high school, college. Detroit Lions, his team wasn't that good. He had Calvin Johnson. That was it. Everybody else sucked. We always knew he was a winner. That's why he got paid so high in Detroit. And
Don't forget the 2 receivers that have the most receiving yards in a single season were both thrown to by Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson and Cooper Kupp.
And I gave you that stat.
Wow.
Use it against me.
You turned it against me.
Yeah.
That is
That's
interesting. It's
No,
so
that's fair. That's fair to say. I
That's-
mean, I
yeah.
think from my perspective, the most important position is quarterback. So the quarterback should get most of the credit. It's not, the Bengals had a crazy playoff drought and he ended.
Yeah, but
it.
at the same time, like remember when the Giants played the Patriots and the Patriots that hadn't lost a game, they were undefeated. So you're like, well, Brady just wins. Like they just never lose. But then how did Eli win? Like
there's just so many factors in football. It's kind of hard. The one thing
Many
we haven't
factors.
mentioned about that is it's not it's kind of a big thing, but not the biggest because there's so many. Again, it's like they compare so evenly between the Stafford and Burrow. But one thing that's similar too is Tyler Higbee, the Rams tight end, and C.J. Uzomah, the Bengals tight end. They're both really good tight ends.
neither of them are going to have that much of an impact because they both got hurt in the last game.
They're both dealing with, I think they're both with the same injury, MCL sprains. It seems like as of Tuesday, recording it February 8th, so there's still maybe 5 days for the Super Bowl.
Mhm.
It seems like Higbee won't play. They're saying he's doubtful. Uzama, I think, came out and said he's going to play.
Dude,
But they're
Yeah,
both nursing injuries.
I
but they're
love
both-
that video of Uzama ripping off the
Knee
leg brace.
Did he really?
And he
Yeah,
threw it up in the air.
He's a huge, Uzama. They're both real. If on the Dorm Debate Instagram, you saw they consistently. There wasn't a consistent tight end dominating, but both Higbee and Uzama were consistently up there periodically. Of all the tight ends, they were they can have really good games. So to lose Higbee and for Burrow to have Uzama to help blocking or to help be an easy out, that's like a Brady potentially having a Gronk-esque. Not to say he's like Gronk, he's not there yet, but one player like that is a huge factor, So I think Uzama's that kind of guy. So it's if he does play and Higbee doesn't, that's a big edge towards the Bengals potentially walking away with it.
One thing I do want to say, I'm going to take Burrow off for this. Both teams deserve it. I mean, the road to the Super Bowl for them, for each team, was not easy. The Rams had to go in Tampa to the reigning champs and beat them. And then Joe Burrow had to go into Kansas City and go into Tennessee and beat them, the 2 top seeds. So they both deserve it. And I wouldn't be mad if either team
No, I would
won.
be just happy. Everybody
happy
wants
that it's
everybody.
I'm happy it's not like a dynasty, where
Exactly.
if Mahomes was in it, I'd be worried that they're going to create a dynasty, or if Brady was in it, I guess I would want
annoying for them.
Yeah,
to win
but
at that
this
point.
is you look at Stafford, the guy's been through hell, and he deserves it. And Joe Burrow, maybe comeback player of the year, could potentially win it for Cincinnati, who's such a great fan base.
And they haven't won in so long either.
Yep. So both are great stories. I think it's going to be a great Super Bowl. I hope it is. I hope that it's going to be what I hope it is, which is high scoring and what the playoffs have been like this whole season, which is game-winning kicks, overtime. That's what I want.
How funny would it be if it went to overtime? And one of them wins the coin toss and the other one just doesn't see the field in the Super Bowl.
Oh, that would be bad. That'd be
That would
bad.
Like that would be the
very bad.
cherry
Please
on
don't
the.
end like that.
But that's like 90%. I mean, I would be so. Yeah, I'm similar. I don't think I won't be mad. I want the Bengals to win, but I'm also like I like Stafford a lot. There's like it's the same thing. Like, there's whoever wins, I personally like will be there's it like you're saying. It's not a dynasty winning. Like both teams in their
Yeah.
own ways gave up everything. Like the Bengals were tanking for like years to get Burrow, and also when he got injured, played terribly. But they've been setting a foundation. If they win and even getting this far, they'll be an interesting case study for a lot of teams to be like to be able to get a number one guy and then turn around and make it to the Super Bowl or at least the playoffs in 2 years. Whereas some of these teams consistently are trying to like do the draft thing over and over. Like they'll be an interesting case study for. They've been setting the foundation for a while, but so have the Rams. They gave up all the picks, got all the veteran talent. Like they're not even like a dynasty. They're just like, nor are they like a bunch of parts. They're just like that organization is doing everything, putting everything on the line to win now. And like I have to respect that. Whereas the Bengals are like the young guy too, and they want to prove themselves, and they could win it too. So I won't be mad either way.
Yeah, well, I have to disagree with all three of you. I mean, if the Bengals win, I may be a little ticked off
What?
because
What?
I do I like Joe Burrow and the guys. It's a great underdog story, but at the end of the day,
You don't think they deserve it?
anything where they deserve to be here. Okay, the teams they played against, a lot of them just blew it.
Yeah, but that's not
Chiefs
fair to
blew it.
say though. That's not fair to
come
say.
on,
Nobody
like,
gets to the
it's
Super Bowl
annoying.
with
It's gonna,
that.
it's gonna
I know.
honestly, I'll be really ticked off if they win. I'll just
But why
anger me. The coach doesn't deserve this. Are you kidding me?
to go
doesn't deserve
into
this.
Kansas City down 18, which is the biggest in an AFC championship deficit, and win?
Yeah, but the Chiefs are shooting themselves in the foot. Like it's not
But
like
it's the
they.
Bengals.
Come on.
Did the Bengals force that 3-and-out in the overtime?
If the
and
Bills were
force them to
here,
win?
I would say, okay, fine. Even though I don't like the Bills, I mean, they deserve it. But Bengals, I can't say they deserve this. I mean, they got lucky so much this
Wow.
postseason. They
A
got
team
lucky
that you
so
like
much.
less.
Do
than
you
the
have
Bills?
to hate them? What
I
happened?
don't hate them.
know.
I don't hate them. I don't hate them. I'm just
don't
annoyed by
think
the
they do?
coach who doesn't belong
I-
here. Like
I mean,
not
I think
on the level of Sean McVay and Bill Belichick and Andy Reid. Like stay in your lane. Stay in your lane, buddy. You shouldn't be here.
What? Sean McVay's
Okay,
younger
that's-
than Zach Taylor.
No, Sean McVay's like he's a way better coach. He's
The
on
young
another
prodigy.
level.
How do you
Jonathan
know
Glass.
though? How do you know?
You can
only
he's
tell.
already
Come on,
been
you
to a
can
Super
tell.
Bowl. He's been to
Hey,
a
you
Super
can-
Bowl with a different quarterback.
Is that what you're gonna say, John? I saw you were saying something.
No, I was just gonna say I kind of agree with Jonathan, but I like I said before, I think the Raiders, yeah, the Titans weren't that great, but the Chiefs game, I'll give it to them. But like we said all season, like yeah, we could say any team that got to there wouldn't deserve it because everybody lost to everybody. So like you could say, oh, nobody deserves it, or you could be like, oh, whoever gets here is really deserves it because they even lost and still got through all the big guys. So. I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah,
think
you can-
Jonathan. I don't think you'll have to worry about that. Don't worry, the Rams will
Stop.
win. But I do see where you're coming from a little bit.
You could
I
say the
will-
Rams got lucky because Tart dropped interception from Stafford, and they would have lost.
You need
know?
a little luck in the NFL. But
Yeah,
I
you
want
need
a
a little
caveat. I won't agree with Jonathan, but the one caveat that I mentioned even when Burrow got drafted is, and it's funny because I don't know where I'm getting this from other than what the sources I'm about to say, but like the Bengals have been bad for long. That's one thing. But organizationally, I talked about when Burrow got drafted, I was worried if they'd be able to protect them. And they haven't really done a great job at protecting him. But, and this is something that, maybe I should look into more detail as to why. But like Skip and Shannon were saying this. Pat McAfee was also saying this on his show. That for whatever reason, they didn't really specify, but the Bengals owner organization, like outside of the head coaching and the guys who are on the field, but like the organization is kind of cheap. Like it's kind of like they both those like shows had issues with the organization of the Bengals. Not to say the fans, not to say the team or the guys on the team or the coaches, but something about like the power structure might be why they were so bad for so long. That I'd give a little credit to like. Even Shannon Sharp was saying how like if Burrow wins this and then in 3 years wants like a mega contract, like as probably is worth it, will the Bengals pay it? Who knows? But that's Shannon Sharp, who's like a Hall of Famer. So I was curious about that. I don't know the details about that, and I'm not as acquainted with the Rams organization, but that was something that kind of proven to be true, at least with protecting Burrow. They should have done more already, and I think they've improved, but. Yeah, that'll be one thing that I think will be something to watch for.
Last thing from a mascot perspective, would you take a Bengal over a Ram?
Like in a fight?
Yeah.
A tiger
I'd-
every time.
I'd-
How's a ram gonna? No. Unless the ram is eating dynamite and then gets eaten by the tiger as like a final like.
He would have to somehow ram into him really hard.
Even then, no. The tiger. Let me see. What's the
The
most
tiger would
powerful-
be too fast, I think, and
powerful
I
ram in the
I
world?
don't know.
tigers
Ram-
aren't. I know tigers aren't known for their speed, but they're still fast.
They're so strong. Their legs are
Yeah.
really strong. Sometimes they die
The
standing
ram-
up.
The ram would be caught without knowing what's going on. The ram would be like, "What?"
He'd put his head down and then he would just like
Yeah, with the
get
horns
killed.
though, it can maybe hold off. Yeah.
Bang. I'm just worried. I'm just curious.
All right, so were we gonna do score predictions so we can get
Oh.
a sense of just to get a sense of how close? I want to see like how close you guys think it's gonna be.
You know, I will add.
I'll just say a few.
Madden had their prediction come out. You
Okay.
guys see that?
Oh,
No,
who they
what did
pick?
Madden. It was apparently. I think we should watch it at some point. We should do a media review, like watch all these interviews and stuff together. Like, anyways, they had Marshawn Lynch present it, but their prediction was 24.
Wait. Should we just end this podcast and then cut it and then watch it for TikTok content?
Oh yeah, let's do that. Let's do
All
that.
right. Sorry, you're gonna
I'm
have to
thinking-
go to our TikTok to
uh,
see it.
Yes.
Content
we will.
is key.
Well, we'll probably see it show up on our feeds, but I think it'll be fun to don't watch the trailer.
Yeah, I haven't
guess.
seen it, so
Yeah. Okay, but I'll start off with my score prediction.
okay. So
Dude,
what do you
even
want?
then, I'm like hesitating to say not a score, but I okay. The number is
Shot
for
in the
me.
dark.
The number in my head is 27-24.
Okay.
And I picked the Rams, so I have to go with them. But part of me wants to say Bengals, but I'll be 27-24.
Jonathan.
I'm gonna say 35-17
Ooh,
Rams.
shoot.
Interesting.
A mauling. I'm just gonna say like within a field goal. So like
Mm,
if I had to do like a spread, I'd say like -3.
okay.
Bengals.
Okay. I would go with 27-16 Rams.
Wow.
Jesus.
I think it's gonna be tough for the Bengals to score.
Wow. So anybody changing their pick lastly before we end it off and your pick is finalized?
Mine's
Secured.
final. Mine's final.
I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm just so torn. It's literally 51-49. I made a pick for the sake of making a pick, but
We have to pull teeth to get Caleb to do
This
a
is like
pick.
torturous for Caleb.
it's
This is
really
like-
like I was stressing about it. Like I was like, oh, what am I going to say to these guys? 'Cause I'm so torn. Yeah. I
Well-
mean, I won't say it might change. For the podcast, for the record, for the written record, Rams is there, but I will say maybe there's a chance during the week I change my mind. But for it to count, I think the podcast is where it happens. So
All right.
yeah.
So, a couple things. So, we have the Super Bowl live show. I said that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Super Bowl live show will be at 3 p.m. Correct, John?
3 p.m. Eastern time.
3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We will be going live. We'll be doing the giveaway winners as well as just talking Super Bowl talk and just interacting with you guys for the final NFL game. And make sure to subscribe and like the video and comment your pick for the Super Bowl down below. I'm really curious to see who people have.
Yeah.
And make sure you go over to TikTok and on Instagram, check out those giveaways
Yeah.
and throw us a follow on both of those. So enjoy the Super Bowl, guys. The last NFL game of the season. Enjoy it because we won't have one for a long time. So if you're a Bengals fan, good luck to the Bengals. If you're a Rams fan, if they're even out there, good luck to the Rams. And yeah, we will see you guys next week.